Hi, friends. I'm Maile Navarro. Thank you for joining me today on Honestly, I'm Fine. I was actually thinking about it and I was debating whether or not I should petition the Webster's Dictionary to possibly redefine the word fine as just emotionally decorative. I was thinking maybe fine should just be satisfactory condition. I don't know. But, anyways, welcome back. Sorry it's been 2 weeks again. Maybe we should just chalk it up to I'll be here bi weekly. We are going into week 5 of the Manifest a Better Life. Right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you, I don't feel like life is really getting any better. I don't feel like I'm seeing any major changes, but I also can be completely honest in admitting that I don't feel like I'm doing a lot of work to make it happen. So let's talk about what this week has been like. Last night, at the last minute, I decided that I wanted to pop on to Matt Fraser's online reading. If you guys don't know who Matt Fraser is, I actually have his book right here. I'm going to show it to you. He is one of the country's top mediums. I have had the pleasure of meeting him in person and getting my book signed. Super exciting. However, I did not get called on in person. I have attended 23 of his online readings, and I have never been called on in any of them, which is super disappointing. But for some reason, I keep going back. I actually learned about who Matt Fraser was because one night in September, right after Kingston passed in 2024, I was dead asleep and my laptop turned on and Matt Fraser's video about breakthrough signs started playing in the middle of the night. It was 2:22. It was talking about how if you hear like taps or like knocks on the wall, that it would be spirit trying to get your attention after they first passed away. And that was something that really happened a lot when Kingston first crossed over, is that there would be like loud banging on the walls. So immediately I'm freaked out because one, why is my laptop on? And two, why is he talking about the exact things that were happening around my house, like the lights flickering and light bulbs going out? So randomly, I decided last night that I was going to sit down with Kingston's dad and we were going to try to get a reading. And after 23 attempts, I am over 23 on getting called on by Matt Fraser. I went in with the hopes that it would give me content to use today. I was really hoping, because I woke up praying that I would be automatically handed the next right thing. So we went to my daughter's cheer competition this weekend and drove back until 2 o'clock in the morning the night before, and 2 o'clock in the morning last night. Last night? Fuck, I don't know. I'm so confused. Okay, so we were driving and I was actually listening to Matt's book on Audible. We were listening to the audiobook, right? And he's talking about if you just talk to your guides and you ask for what you need every morning, that they're going to eventually start answering you back. So I thought first thing in the morning yesterday, I was like, hey, present to me the thing that's going to lead me into what I'm supposed to do next. Unfortunately, I don't think I got anything, but I did get an Instagram message from Matt's Instagram account that was like, join me tonight. In my head, I was like, maybe that's the thing I'm supposed to do that's going to give me content and the sign, because I'm not looking for something small. I'm looking for the big neon light that says, hey, Miley, this is what we're doing next. So I was hoping that in one sitting, everything that I needed to do today's episode was just going to fall into my lap. So I go to the online reading and I log in. I'm half an hour early. I'm like, this is it. This is the time that he is going to call on me. And no, he didn't call me. So that's what I was hoping for, is that I was going to get handed the answer to the question, what is next for me? As an outsider's perspective, I think what I was looking for was the easy way out of doing the work, right? Like I was looking for a way to not have to do the work myself. I wanted somebody to hand me the answers. At the very end, I believe in this thing they're called piggyback messages. And any medium that you talk to will say, pay attention to everyone else's readings, okay? Because in everyone else's readings and stories, sometimes spirits or souls that can't get through or don't have a huge message because other souls in that room have more important messages. You know, I believe that I communicate with Kingston all the time. So he usually goes about an hour and a half. And at the hour and a half mark, he picked one more person to call on. And it was this girl. She had to be 15 or 16 years old, and she had lost her dad. In that reading, he started talking about somebody named James and Tom. Michael's grandpa's name is Jim, and my biological dad's name is Tim. In the end, when I realized we weren't going to get called on, I was like, shit, there wasn't even a piggyback message. And then Matt started talking to this girl, and I was like, wait a minute, everything they're talking about kind of resonates for me too. So I always get super disappointed, obviously, that there's no direct message because I feel like Matt is such a talented medium, but I do feel like at the very end, because had goosebumps, I was crying, I was bummed, but I also felt like souls came through in that piggyback message to let us know, hey, we are here. So it wasn't completely deflating because there was some pretty crazy stuff happening during the reading. We have lights in our bathroom that if you go in, they automatically turn on. But I was sitting in the living room and it was like full on Coachella happening in the bathroom. The lights were blinking on both sides. They were going on and off and on and off, but we weren't in the bathroom. We were nowhere near the sensors. And I even would ask a question and the lights would turn on in a response to the question. I've just got goosebumps everywhere right now as I'm telling the story because they were talking about how the lights flicker all the time since her dad had passed. And at that moment, they started talking about how her dad was an electrician. Souls will come through and give signs using things that relate to them directly. Everyone knows that me and Kingston played Pokemon, right? This is sitting right in front of me. Pikachu is an electric type Pokemon. So I felt like when they were talking about electricity and the lights flickering, when Kingston passed away in the first week, we had to replace every light bulb in the house. So I definitely feel like that was a thing for us. I was disappointed, but overall, I do feel like I got a little bit of comfort in knowing that it connected a little bit. I felt like by not getting called on that it was honestly like you have to do your own work. That was something that Kingston used to give me a really hard time about was that you're not going to get the easy way through all this. The lights flickering was validation. I am here. This is real. Watch me connect some dots for you. I'm just not going to hand you the answers today. So you're going to have to do some of the work. I also have this thing since I was a little kid. We've talked on this podcast about how I'm adopted on my dad's side and that my relationship with my parents is not that great because I feel like they favor my brother. I have a tendency to question things when they come to me, whether they're good or bad. When I go to these big events, I always feel like I'm not going to get picked. And it just reminds me of being on the playground when I was little. I'm not going to get picked. My parents pick my brother over me, and maybe I'm not cool enough to get picked. But I also feel like with Matt Fraser's readings, Kingston was super partial to women. He especially likes the young, cute ones. So there is another medium, Monica the Medium. I have gone to 2 of her online readings, and Kingston has come through on both. My relationship with Matt Fraser right now is, okay, I don't think that Kingston loves Matt Fraser. I think that his soul's, I could do without this guy. He's just not in a big hurry to speak through Matt. But also at the same time, why am I not cool enough to get a message? Why am I not chosen? Why am I not being chosen? Why can't I get the message just handed to me? Like, why am I not good enough to be picked? So that's what I did yesterday when I really should have probably just been recording the episode and talking to you guys about what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. Because I told you that I was going to come out with curriculum and that I was going to guide you through how I'm doing this. The way I'm doing this has become incredibly sloppy, super messy, with zero structure. I have really felt like in the last week that I'm actually losing my mind. I feel completely disoriented, discombobulated. I'm confused. I feel disconnected. I don't feel like I'm doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing to evolve and have a better, fuller life. I'm not sending out resumes. There's actually only one thing I've done in the last week that really felt like I was working on manifesting a better life at all. For the last 2 weeks, I promised you guys that by now you should have had, if I'm on week 5, you should have had 4 full 30 to 40 minute episodes. And you're probably wondering, where the hell had she been for the last 2 weeks? Because I definitely have posted one time since I started the Manifest a Better Life Challenge. Let's get real. If you have kids, then you know that even just one kid is a lot of work. So Zuma, my daughter, she just did a cheer competition in Arizona and she had practice, and I can use that as an excuse till I'm blue in the face as to why I am not checking in and doing the work I'm supposed to be doing. So I will use her as an excuse all day long as why I'm not getting stuff done. I feel like I have OCD. It's undiagnosed, it's self-diagnosed OCD. But I start to feel like I'm literally going to crawl out of my skin just thinking about the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing according to myself. Nobody told me to do any of this. I created this mess all by myself. When I think about, oh my gosh, I promised people that I would be on here, then I just start to feel incredibly defeated and I go, fuck it, why am I doing this? And this is really something that I talked about not last week, the week before, when I said, I just get overwhelmed and then I don't want to do any of it because I feel like I've already failed myself. I failed the experiment, like the experiment's this massive flop. Logistically, where have I been? I've been here creating this space. And so it may look silly, just the way I'm sitting in this chair or the background behind me, but this shit took me hours to feel comfortable sitting in this corner. Like, I will turn a simple project into something so big that it feels unmanageable. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, is just trying to make this little corner of my bedroom a manageable space to sit and even record. This is a huge step, okay? I'm going to put this out as a video no matter what. Even if my nose looks big, if my shirt is stained or my boobs look lopsided, or if you can see the fact that I have laundry behind me, I'm going to put it out on video no matter what, because that's one of the reasons that I haven't even been doing the podcast is because I'm like, it's so ugly, like where I'm recording, or I'm ugly, so I can't do a video. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And honestly, if I look at my stats, nobody's watching anyways. So why can't I put up the video? I don't know. I like to call myself a podcaster. I like to call myself a writer, and I do call myself a nonprofit founder, but really I'm not using any of those titles to do the work that come with that title. I've had people come up to me in the last 2 weeks and be like, I listen to your podcast. It's so good. I could talk to you for hours. But for some reason, I don't hear that and take it to heart and then do more with it. Actually, you remember that a scene in Mean Girls where she's, oh my God, that's the cutest bracelet. And then she walks away, that's the ugliest fucking bracelet I've ever seen. So when somebody says they really like what I'm doing, I think that they're just saying that to be nice to my face. The pressure that I'm putting on myself to make the podcast a thing is so intense to the point where it becomes debilitating. There's actually a term for it, analysis paralysis. I will overthink everything to the death to the point where I end up doing absolutely nothing at all. Because the only thing that I feel like I have to offer people or the world right now is my story. And I want this podcast to be a thing so badly that I don't want to do it wrong. But then I end up not doing it all. And people can't buy into what they don't know exists. A lot of things I have to think about are, what are the tiny tweaks that I'm willing to make so that I can get the podcast out there so that people even know it exists? Most importantly, is we have to think about, what about Bob right now? It's, I'm good, I'm great, I'm fine. Baby steps, right? So for me, it's baby steps. For the last year, I put out probably 30 clips under the podcast name, and they were all garbage. I hated the sound of my voice. I really thought that I sounded like a phone sex operator with emphysema who'd been smoking since she was like 12, maybe a little bit like manly even. So one of the baby steps that we're going to take is I'm going to release the video no matter what. Each week, I just have to do one thing that I was afraid to do the week before. And even if I'm doing that in the background. This week, I'm going to put the video up. I usually do my Instagram and my TikTok, but I 100% use Facetune. So I'm going to release content without altering my face or putting a filter on, which is really freaking hard for me because I've got this nose here and I think it's quite large. So I'm going to go no filter and put the video out and try not to be super critical about it. That's step one. Any other baby steps? I'm gonna have to figure that out day by day, because no filter is not a baby step. That is like jumping from here to the moon. Somebody asked me if I think that talking about manifesting a life that doesn't suck, do I think that's enough content or do I need to add more? No, it's not enough. If we just talk about manifesting in general every week, and that's all I come on here and I talk about, what did I manifest this week? No, you'll be bored. What I need to talk to you about each week is what I went through to make life better, or what was crappy in life that week, so that we can avoid repeating those things going forward. One of the things I really wanted to talk about on an episode, and I was very tempted to not do the manifest your best life theme today, I wanted to talk about system failures. But I'm also really tired of talking about all of the bad shit that comes with brain cancer, just cancer in general, or terminal illness, just any sort of illness that slows you down. I'm really tired of being so angry. But at the same time, next month is May. And if you don't know, that May is Brain Tumor Awareness Month. And it's tough for me because I don't always have enough content if we're talking about manifesting, because I don't do a good job of manifesting in practice. I don't sit around and invite good vibes all day, every day. I don't really have this incredible story to tell about all of the things on my to-do list or my curriculum checklist. When you get the syllabus in school and you're supposed to accomplish certain things before your next class. I don't have that. I created it, and then I was like, this is so much, I can't do it. I wanted something to stay on track, and I don't know how to do that. I have ADD, and I don't know how to stay linear and have it all make sense. So I'm really struggling with the manifest a life that doesn't suck content in conjunction with what real life looks like, or telling Kingston's story, or telling my story, or other family stories, because there's just so much that happens in between trying to manifest a life that doesn't suck and real life. Maybe if I worked harder during the day, every day, I would have more manifest a life that doesn't suck content. But I also think it's really important to talk about the issues that people aren't talking about, which is things like IHSS for caregivers and making sure that they all have the support that they need, and especially with the economy, the way things are right now, and reintegrating back into life after being a caregiver. And with the way things are going politically, I just feel like we're not set up to succeed after losing somebody. I'm sure it was that way far before our current leader came into the picture, but I feel like it's definitely a lot harder to manifest a life that doesn't suck right now when we're literally at war. It's been a tough couple of weeks trying to figure out, how do I stay positive and how do I change my life in a way that feels good without also making me feel crazy? If that makes any sense at all. With May being Brain Tumor Awareness Month, this is going to make me cry. Okay, Kingston passed away in July. Every year on my birthday, which is May 18th, I have gotten bad news. I had to sit in MRIs on my birthday every year for the last 4 years. And every birthday they would call me. And granted, there were years where he was in remission, but we were in a hospital on my birthday. On my birthday in 2024, they told me he would die. In 2023, they told me his cancer was growing. 2022 was really the last time that we had an MRI on my birthday that wasn't horrible news. So with May coming around, my birthday doesn't feel happy. It's also Mother's Day. Sorry. Go gray in May, like, really, to me, I just hear sadness. It just makes me so sad. Do I foresee any setbacks in May? Dude, I see setbacks every month. I can find a reason to be sad and not get shit down every month, because after my birthday, it will be Father's Day in June and his dad's birthday. And it was the last month that he was really able to talk to us before Kingston had the strokes that made him unable to talk. And then it'll be the 2-year anniversary of him having passed away. So that'll throw me into a tailspin, probably starting right now, if it hasn't already been part of why I'm crazy. We'll probably get a little respite from feeling like shit after his birthday. So Kingston passed July 18th, and then his birthday is July 29th. And then we have Zuma's birthday, which is something that we're all going to be excited about, right? So for that month, everything will probably feel good. And September will probably be okay. Except that's Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. And so then I have to go fight with schools to acknowledge Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. So I feel like there's not a lot of breaks. There's not a lot of breaks to give us something to look forward to, so that I'm not thinking about the bad stuff all the times. Because then right after Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month in September, we go into the holidays. And the holidays just trigger something even if you don't mean to be sad. There's just something about the holidays and him not being here that make the holidays really hard to celebrate. Then we'll get through the holidays. January will come around. I'll dig myself out of a little hole, probably skirt through February and March. And then it'll be my birthday again. And it'll just be another reason to be sad. So do I foresee any setbacks with the month of May rolling around? I see setbacks every day. Every day. Somebody asked me, is there any small step that I could take to maybe make May a little less depressing? In a perfect world, I would leave. I would go on vacation and I would just be gone. I would love to be in Hawaii from now until after his birthday. But if I'm being realistic, what can I do to get through Mother's Day and my birthday without letting it totally fuck me up in the head? Until I am in a position where I have money and I don't have to be here, I don't know what it looks like to prepare to be sad. I feel like the question was, how can you prepare to be sad to not be sad? Does that make sense? Sorry. I can make plans. I can make small plans, But when you're not a people person and you're an anxious person, it's really hard for me to make plans that far in advance because that's a month away. But then I am also one of those people that I don't like to make plans at the last minute either because that's too last minute for me. When you are an anxious person, it's too hard to make plans far in advance, but I don't like to do things too much on the fly either because it's super overwhelming. So, what is something really small that I can do for the month of May to maybe anticipate how I'm going to feel and try to negate it in advance? Putting stuff on the schedule, I think if I wanted to manifest the month of May being a May that doesn't suck this year, I would keep myself busy on the calendar to have something to look forward to if I want to go do it. That's actually probably something I should do. I actually like that for myself. I think that I will totally book out my weekends in May with things that I can afford to do and be like, this is what we're going to do this day. And then if I don't want to do it at the last minute, I can change the plan. And just being flexible and open-minded to the fact that the plans could change. When you're an ADHD, OCD, anxious person in general, I'm very rigid. So maybe loosening up on some of the expectations. If I book out my weekend, it's okay if the weekend doesn't go according to plan. So yeah, I could make plans on the weekend and I can make plans on my birthday that don't involve being dependent on other people because other people will for sure let me down. Last year, I spent my birthday with a group of friends whom I love very much, but of course, there was one person there who just had to make it miserable. So maybe I will make plans with just myself. And then if other people who want to be with me and celebrate with me, they are welcome to join and I can let them know where I'll be. That way, I'm not dependent on other people and nothing gets messed up based on something I can't control. Because at the end of the day, the only thing we can control is ourselves. Something I also read in Matt Fraser's book the other day. But I think that's just something we're all supposed to know is the only thing that you can control is yourself. So I will make plans based on that. Let's say I was to go through the entire month of May and I have these plans and I don't have a major meltdown. Will I feel like I manifested happiness for that month? I don't know because I've never been successful in following through with my own plans. I think we should definitely put down a note to check in June. Did I have a good birthday? Did I have a nice Mother's Day? Did I have a meltdown? Did I take care of myself when I knew I wasn't doing great? Or did I go bury myself in other people, which is something I totally tend to do? So will I feel successful if I'm able to get through May without completely retreating and going to bed for a month? Yeah. But also sometimes you have to listen to your body and you can just go to sleep and that's okay. You just can't sleep for a month at a time. Do I think it's possible that I'll feel successful? I don't know. I don't feel successful in a lot of things, even when I know I've done them. And that's my own thought process that I have to work on. Last week, I was interviewed as a guest for another podcast, which I think I mentioned 2 weeks ago that I would be doing. Super exciting. It was a 4.5-hour interview. I don't know how much will actually be used, but it was really cool to sit down and to be able to tell Kingston's whole story from basically conception to death, which if I could get that transcript, you guys, oh my gosh, we would have an amazing book. I'm really hoping that I was able to tell his story in a way that makes sense and that everybody was able to follow. I'm really looking forward to that project coming out so that everyone can hear Kingston's story. It's a lot about the signs. I'm really excited for everybody to hear just the different ways that the afterlife seems to be proving itself to be more and more real. Sometimes I tell the stories and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot that happened and I forgot this happened. It was a really exciting experience for me to be able to go through and be like, wow, there's actually so much connection between him and I, even after him being gone. Telling the story from the beginning, from when I found out that I couldn't have any more kids, but then Kingston and Zuma came back to back. I realized that I've known Kingston before Kingston was conceived. It was such a crazy experience to tell that story and be like, wow, I've known all of my children since before they came to be. And that was a pretty cool thing that I would love to dig into more on an episode. Anything else? Let's see. We traveled and we took Zuma for her cheer competition. So I was able to show up as a mom. And her dad and I did that without fighting, which was pretty great considering I bumbled our travel plans and tried to rent a car and almost got us stuck in Phoenix. Getting us stuck in Phoenix and managing to get us home all in one piece without fighting was pretty cool. That's something I wasn't able to do before. So I'm really proud of us for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was a big win for me. This space, this corner, I know you don't really get how important this space was for me to be able to create and sit in, to be able to tell you these stories. I've done a few things in the last 2 weeks that were baby steps towards the long-term goal. I also built a new website. If you haven't checked it out, it's just MaileNavarro.com. If you don't know how to spell my name, it's MaileNavarro, MaileNavarro.com. Check it out. You're going to have access to the podcast, to the songs that I've written. They were actually poems that I used AI to turn them into awesome tunes that I think a lot of people will be able to relate to. So please go check out the music. From there, you'll be able to access the Live Like Kingston website. If you want to send me a suggestion, if you just want to tell me to fuck off, there's a contact page. You can be like, Miley, fuck off. That's something I spent a whole week doing, and it turned out beautiful. That's really the hub. It's my own personal link tree, MaileNavarro.com. Check out my website. You can also lurk. You don't have to even engage if you don't want to. You can just silently sit there and stare at my pictures and think, oh my God, she's so pretty. I hate her. You can totally do that. Until next time, stay fine adjacent with me. It's okay to be fine-ish. I love you all, and I'm going to throw this up right now for everybody to check me out without a filter. If you're listening from your car and you haven't watched the video yet, go to the YouTube channels, do all of the things, click the buttons. My daughter would say, smash that button, subscribe, and follow from wherever you are listening. That is how we're going to turn this into something that actually pays the bills so that I don't have to keep begging on the corner of Instagram and Facebook. But if you do want to donate, you can also find that link at MaileNavarro.com. This is honestly, I'm fine, and that's code for I am emotionally unstable but refusing to tell you all the truth. Until next time, bye.
I've been learning how to live with what I can't undo. Some days I break, some days I break through. I still talk to the parts of me that hurt the most. Somehow I'm standing, even when I feel like a ghost. I do not need a miracle. I just need room to breathe. I am still here. Honestly, I'm fine. Even when it hurts inside, I'm still here. Still alive. Honestly, I'm fine. If my voice shakes, let it shake. If my heart breaks, let it break. I don't have to get it right every time. This is my story. This is my life. I am still